A very good afternoon to you. You're watching SA Today on the SABC News Channel, independent and impartial. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Johannesburg, South Africa. Hello, I'm Peter Ndoro.
And I'm Palesa Chibise. A very good afternoon to you indeed. We are now in the second hour of SA Today. It's great to have you with us on this Wednesday afternoon. Let's get into it.
Now, Unions NUMSA and the SAA Cabin Crew Association have issued South African Airways with a 48-hour strike notice over the planned job cuts at the national carrier.
The unions have been briefing the media in Johannesburg a short while ago.
There is a state capture that is accepted in this country, that SAA, for instance, Kingston would have gone to Parliament and opened his mouth very widely that basically SA must be privatized because they are ready to make sure that it is auctioned, it is privatized, as they are doing the same to privatize ESCO. So from where we stand is that if they think that we are going to fold arms and allow workers' jobs, benefits and conditions to be destroyed and these assets of the people to be basically auctioned, through the strike, we are going to embark on a rolling mass action. On Monday, we will be approaching SAFTU to basically say we're not just facing workers' job loss bloodbath as a result of retrenchment.
The National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa and South African Cabin Crew Association have served South African Airways and South African Airways Technical with a 48 hours notice to strike. What this means is that we'll be embarking on the mother of all strikes at all SAA and South African Airways technical operations nationally, beginning Friday morning on the 15th of November at 4 a.m. Participating in the strike will be members of the South African Airways cabin crew, check-in, ticket sales, head office, technical staff and ground staff. There are likely to be disruptions and therefore we advise members of the public to make alternative arrangements if they have booked flights on SAA.
However, South African Airways says that strike action will cripple operations and may cost the cash-strapped airline up to 50 million rand a day.
SAA board was briefing Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts on its failure to table its financial statements for the past 2 financial years.
We could prepare them on a liquidation basis. To do that, we have to place the company into liquidation. There are some consequences that I have to say are catastrophic in the context of placing SAA into liquidation. In no order of importance, the first is that all of the loan agreements accelerate. It's a default under the loan agreements and under the lease agreements. You'll be well aware of the fact that we have 9.2 billion rands worth of debt that comes due, and we've had to shunt, I would say, from month to month. But our leases on the planes also will be accelerated. So we're not talking about 9 billion rands worth of obligations. We're talking about in excess of 40 billion rands worth of obligations that have to be settled immediately.
Martin, you've painted a very bleak picture, and I have no doubt that it's accurate, but I think there's some options that you haven't considered or haven't mentioned. Why is the board not looking at business rescue?
Kingston said that option was also not feasible and that the board cannot do so without the shareholders' consent.
We can have the accounts signed tomorrow with a disclaimed opinion. And I'm saying if you issue that disclaimed opinion from the auditors just on one matter, no other matter, the fuel suppliers will pull their facilities. It's 581 million that I need to find tomorrow. Tomorrow, no flight will take off. So apologies if it seems that the sentence was disrespectful. However, it's just to indicate the house is on fire.
To compound SAA's problems, the unions have threatened to go on strike.
The unions have gone to the CCMA and they have non-resolution certificates, which mean that they can declare strike in 48 hours. We have received a notification of strike this morning from NUMSA and SACA, two unions, and that's the cabin crew. And once there is no cabin crew in an aircraft, that aircraft can't take off. Those are the issues that we just thought let us sensitize you to, so that you are aware of this. You are not surprised when you see things happening at Airways.
Despite this, the Public Accounts Watchdog Body has told board members that they were breaking the law by failing to submit the airline's financial statements. And Scopa had stern warning for the board.
The fundamental issue here is that you need to shape up or ship out.
Scopa has given SAA until the 27th of this month to return to Parliament with a clear plan that indicates when they will submit the company's financial statements. Vuyani Green, SABC News, Parliament.
And so it looks like a showdown is upon us there with the SAA at loggerheads with trade unions. Mother of all strikes has been promised. Well, to discuss this a little bit more, I'm now joined on the line by Professor Jannie Rousseau, who's the head of School of Economics and Business Sciences at the University of the Witwatersrand. Prof, thanks very much indeed for joining us. I suppose what we're seeing at SAA in many ways is representative of the challenges that SOEs in general are facing in South Africa.
Good afternoon, Peter. You are quite right in saying that this is indicative of SOE problems in South Africa. The further problem, however, is that the country does not need SAA. The government should have given it away 5 years ago. So a strike of this nature might very well be the end of SAA.
Why would it be the end of SAA, Prof?
SAA is not financially viable as it is. If the trade unions call the mother of all strikes as they know it, it will finally bring SAA to its knees, and it might not be possible to save SAA financially after a knock like this.
So what should they do? Can anything be done?
The trade unions should accept that SAA needs restructuring, and this restructuring will mean job losses because SAA is completely overstaffed. So by going on a strike, the trade unions are really reacting in a way that's putting all jobs at AAA in jeopardy, rather than only the jobs of those members that might be retrenched.
They're blaming management, saying that why should staff be punished for the ills of previous boards and previous management, and they're saying that even now money continues to be wasted on things such as consultants.
Yes, I fully agree with them, and therefore we also need staff layoffs at management level, not only at staff level. So this must run through the whole organisation. We need layoffs at every level.
Have there been precedents in other countries where a national carrier, national airline has been sold off?
Well, the best example, of course, is Swiss Air in Switzerland that went into receivership and was closed and was then merged with a regional airline to become Swiss, as we know it today. So yes, indeed, there are examples even of national carriers going into a liquidation, going bankrupt.
So is privatization perhaps the best way forward for the national carrier?
If we assume that there's anything to privatize at SAA, it's the best way forward, but it's not clear to me that there's still value in SAA that can be privatized, and perhaps the only way forward is to close SAA altogether.
So what would happen in a situation like this? I mean, we've just signed up to get new aircraft and all the assets that belong to SAA. What would happen to them?
It will have a severe knock-on effect on the fiscal position, and in the end the taxpayers will have to pay for this, as the taxpayers have been paying over the past 5 years. But at least there will be an end to all of this, and it will not be a continuous drain on South African taxpayers.
They say Eskom is too big to fail. Is that not the same for SAA? We don't need an airline?
We really don't need a national carrier. We don't need SAA. To the contrary, we need Eskom because it's our only power supply.
All right, Professor Jannie Rousseau, we're going to leave it there. Thanks very much indeed for your insights. That was